Tourette syndrome, and they have a talk about the disease, about the life, and who it is, and I really liked this theme, so I start to produce this project about it. So I'm going to start. First of all, I'm going to talk what is Tourette syndrome. Tourette syndrome was discovered in 1885 by Gilles de la Tourette. That is a French doctor that described the disease as involuntary and compulsive tics. They can be motor tics or vocal tics. Well, the motor tics, they are like a group of muscles or a muscle that contracts in an involuntary way. And the vocal tics, they are like steady things and repeat things that is called echolalia, and the other thing called coprolalia that I'm going to talk later. The tics can be complex or simple. The simple tics are like when just a muscle contracts or just a movement is done, and the complex tics are when a group of muscles or a lot of movements are done in the same time. The tics are involuntary, and Tourette syndrome also have a lot of comorbidities, like in this image. It is not just motor tics and vocal tics. People with Tourette can have OCD, that is obsessive compulsive disorder, can have ADHD, that is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. They can have anxiety, depression, and they can have a behavior that's not uncommon behavior. They have problems for sleep or for social skills and things like this. The Tourette syndrome happens because the frontal lobe and the occupation and the parietal lobe, they have extra work. So they send extra waves that the person don't really need to do, extra activities, and make the Tourette's happening. As I said, I'm going to talk about echolalia and coprolalia. Echolalia is a normal speech disorder that happens in kids under 3 years old, because they repeat what other people say, like they repeat things from a movie or from their mom and dad and this thing. But it's normal when the kids are under 3 years. But when it continues after the 3 years, it can be a symptom of other disease like Tourette syndrome or autism or some disease like that have the same speech disorder. Coprolalia is another disorder that affects people with TS. That is when the person have obscene behavior, so they say obscene words or obscene phrase, and also make obscene movements, but it is completely involuntary. And a lot of people think that all the people with Tourette syndrome have coprolalia, but it's not all the people with TS. Just 4% of the people with Tourette syndrome have coprolalia and have the symptom of obscene behavior. So it's not something to judge people about it, because it is completely involuntary. So this is a video that a guy called Adam Labelle. He's from UK, and he already went to The Voice UK, and he recorded a lot of videos like this that he shows his tick in classrooms and in shopping malls, and how people react to this or how it works. I'm going to show just a little part of this video, just for you to see how it's a tick. And now I'm going to talk about the cause of the Tourette syndrome. syndrome don't have an unknown cause yet, because the scientists don't really know if it is all because of the genetic reasons, or if it has other reasons like environmental reasons and this kind of things. But the genetic cause are like a gene, autosomal gene that is transmitted to the mom or the father to the child, and it is like a hereditary disease, so it can be observed in a lot of people from the same family, but also it can't, like it can be just a kid and no one in the family have something like this, but it happens hereditarily most of the time. And also, like if a child have Tourette syndrome and the father have Tourette syndrome too, some tics are the same tics. They have the same tics on the same movements and this kind of things. And another fact that is very interesting is that when the gene comes from the mom, the motor tics are more complexed. Like the motor tics are more complexed, and they have they appear after a long time, not in the 5 years old that when it's happened. And Tourette syndrome happen more in male than in female, and it starts to 5 years old this age. And when the gene comes from the dad, the vocal tics are more complexed, and it happens yearly in the kid. Like it can happen before the 5 years old and start growing while the kid is growing too. The non-generic cause can be traumatic brain injury, can be abuse of cocaine or neuroepileptics. It also can come from medicines, like medicines for epilepsy and this kind of disease. They can cause Tourette syndrome. When it is not a chronic disease, when it starts with a brain injury or something like this, it is called Tourette's or secondary tics, because not genetic. And okay, now I'm going to talk about the treatments. I'm going to talk about 4 treatments for Tourette syndrome. Well, the treatments in the life of a person with Tourette just start to happen when the disease starts to be a huge part of the. They don't really have. They don't are rarely light. They can vary a lot. And the behavioral therapy, they want to know techniques to relax and don't be stressful, and then suppress the tics and make the person more comfortable with her disease and her or disorder. And other treatment is the medicine. But as I said before, Tourette have a lot of comorbidities like OCD, ADHD, and this kind of disorders. So if they use a medicine to Tourette, it can improve the OCD. So it's not really easy to find the right medicine to a person. And also, the medicines cause a lot of side effects like nausea, fatigue, and these kind of things that make a person uncomfortable with her lifelong, and this kind of things. Other treatment is the deep brain stimulation. There is a surgery where they put little electrodes inside of the brain. They place this inside of the brain, and these electrodes, they change waves of electricity to the brain and make it happens more, and it looks more normal, like a common brain, a typical brain of a person. But this surgery was used to Parkinson's disease and to epilepsy, so they don't really know if it really works in Tourette syndrome. Like in 2014, just 99 cases have been
Just a moment.
as I said, just 99 cases have performed the surgery, so they don't really know if it really works because the surgery also causes depression, anxiety, moods. They cause other motor problems and coordination problems to a person. So they don't think the surgery really works for TS as it works for Parkinson's disease. The last treatment that I'm going to talk about is Botox. Botox, as you know, is used as a beauty product to fake the age. I don't know how to say it. But in Tourette syndrome, it is like when a tic happens in a group of muscles and it's very frequent. Like if a person have a blinking eye ticking, they put the Botox on these nerves, and the Botox works in the end of the nerve and paralyzes it, but not for real. They don't really paralyze the muscle, and the person can't perform the tic anymore. The Botox is also used for vocal tics because they use this in the vocal cords, and persons that use it in the vocal cords say that don't really feel the need to perform the vocal tic. So it is work very well for persons with TS. Okay, now I'm going to talk about Tourette syndrome at school. As you know, the first people that notice that a kid have a disorder are the teachers, because they are in contact with them at the school, and they know that they are acting different from other kids and have an uncommon behavior. So they are the first that notice the Tourette syndrome at kids. So the Tourette syndrome have a lot of comorbidities, as I said before, and one of them can be the learning problems to develop the learning and all these kind of things. So to make a school more comfortable to a kid with Tourette syndrome, and to make it a really good place to the kid to learn and improve their own skills, the parents and the relatives and the teachers have to know that the kid doesn't want to disturb the class or something like this. Tourette syndrome is a voluntary disorder, so they can control nothing of what they are doing, and make it clear to the classroom and to the other classmates can make the kid more comfortable in class. And when a kid with Tourette syndrome is comfortable in class, they have less stress, and with less stress they have less tics, and they can have like a comfortable environment to learn and develop their skills. And like I'm going to talk some methodologies that can be used in a classroom. Like it's very common to a teacher make a question and ask someone to answer, right? So for a kid with TS, it can be very hard to talk in public, like stand out and talk to all the classmates and something like this. But the teacher need to do this methodology because it's part of the learn develop. So to don't make the kids shine or something like this, the teacher can ask the kid to write the answers, or ask the answer before, to the kid feel prepared to respond to answer it. And how to avoid bullying. The only way to avoid bullying is education the other students about Tourette syndrome, because when a kid know what is happening, they tend to not do this person because they know that's not, they don't want to do this, that it's involuntary, and it can help a lot in the learning development of all the kids in the school, like develop empathy and this kind of concept that need to be learned at school. And here is a video of Cohen. He's a teacher in the US and he has Tourette syndrome.
I'm Cohen. I'm an educator, I'm an author, and I have Tourette syndrome. Growing up with Tourette syndrome was really difficult. I remember middle school, kids were picking on me, they were pushing me around, shoving food in my face. I didn't have much support from the students, and I definitely didn't have support from the teachers. Teachers didn't understand why I was doing what I was doing. My mom tried to be a huge advocate for me, but they didn't listen. I got kicked out of class. The bullies, they would parade around me and mock my noises. They throw food in my face. They shoved me around, and I just looked for one teacher around the cafeteria to save me, and they all turned a blind eye. So I remember when my principal came up to me and asked me to educate all the students in the school about Tourette syndrome. That was a major turning point in my life, because after I gave that little speech to all the students, I sat down and I got a standing ovation. And as I sat down, I thought, why is everyone giving me a standing ovation? And I quickly realized that they just wanted to know. They just wanted to understand why I was so different. So on that day, I realized the power of education. And for me, I knew what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be that teacher that I never had. And I realized that when you educate people, it goes a long, long way. So I challenge all of you with Tourette syndrome to follow your dreams, much like I was able to follow mine to become the teacher that I never had.
So this is the Association, Tourette Association of America, and it is Cohen. Cohen is very famous in the West and also in the world because he wrote a book called Front of the Class, and then this book it was produced and transformed in a movie that is also very famous, and you can find it on YouTube to watch, and it's very, very interesting, and all of you should watch. Like my classmates already watched it at school because we have a nice work about inclusion of people with disorders at my school and something like that. So Cohen, he won the American Education Prize in the first year of his career as a teacher, because he really inspired other teachers and kids to be more empathy to other persons and maybe for persons with Tourette. So he's like a famous case of Tourette that is shown on media and things like that. And now I'm going to talk about Billie Eilish. That is American singer. She is 17 like most of us. She's 17 and she has Tourette syndrome. Like she revealed that she was diagnosed with Tourette syndrome when she was a kid, but she just revealed it to the media in November of 2018, like last year, because a video with a compilation of her having tics was published on the internet, and a lot of people was saying like, what does she do? She does it and some things like this. So she decided to talk about it publicly, and he speaks about Tourette syndrome in the Ellen shows, like the Ellen Pompeo, that's very famous on the US. And she's a singer, and she talks about this in her Instagram now, because she discovered that a lot of people with Tourette followed her on Instagram, and she's talking about the Tourette syndrome awareness for all the ones that followed her and her work. And now it has the video that was
I was at the park and there was no bat.
You take me back to the beginning just a little bit. You grew up in LA.
that you can see her tics. This video was published, and after the video she started to talk about Tourette syndrome. Because she's a female, she has more simple things that a boy have, because Tourette syndrome in boys is more complex than it is in girls. That's all. Thank you.
Everybody should know.
That's very important. to know.
While you were talking, some students that I have, I started coming to them. One of that guy has because his mom is worried because he's always drinking and he's always. I think there is a journalist in Global News at Google or something. Someday I was watching him talk and suddenly he would do like, something like talking. And I said, I wonder if he's having any problem. But probably he has
It's
this.
a simple tick, it's a very common vocal tick, like cleaning the throat.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know what's happening to him. So now you answer me.
It's a very common disease, like one kid in 600 have this, so it's very common in the world, in Brazil. But you don't have really a lot of programs of awareness about it.
Yeah, that's it, and it should be, especially because sometimes when you said they have some gestures and it can be even offset. Imagine, and then the teacher doesn't know about it and she's going to punish the student and
It can be a problem really huge in the person's life.
so that's nice first. You should start spreading this thing because it's necessary with school.
Giving lectures.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. Here at Fisk, we're going to start now paying attention and always. And they fall too. Because I have a
Yes,
student that she's
yes.
walking and then suddenly she falls.
Yes, it's a
I'm worried.
complex motor teeth that happen in kids, and when they grow up like teenagers, these get really worse. The teenager is the worst part of Tourette, but when they become adults, the tics can get low and sometimes they disappear completely.
Oh, that's good. Because I'm noticing a little girl, she's walking and then suddenly she falls without bumping into anything. Okay, I don't know if I was paying so attention. In fact, as child does this, what kind of